We're throwing it back to the 2000s, where the Sharks had one of their most successful decades in franchise history with a win. That's right. They're going streaking, folks. Let's talk about it right now on this throwback Y2K night edition of Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is March 30th, 2023. The San Jose Sharks are victorious. Why? Why do they have to be victorious? The Sharks win 4-3 in overtime. We welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark Y2K Night Edition. This is your live interactive Sharks post-game show. We do this after every single San Jose Sharks game. So if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Check us out on AOL keyword Teal Town USA. Of course, follow us on the social media, AOL, AIM, Google, Yahoo, Blogger, LiveJournal, Friendster, MySpace, and of course, Napster. Of course, you want to hit us up. Okay, let's be real here. It's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, and of course, more content at tealtownusa.com. And with that, I'll send it to the guys who will break down tonight's game. I'll be back a little bit later, but here they are, Ian Reed and Eric Landy. Guys?
Ian, do we really have to break this one down? I mean, I'm just, at this point, I don't know what to say. You know, like, there's a clear target. Everybody should be on the same. Are we 15 seconds in, on the same fucking page here? Come on now.
I don't know, man. I hate this season so much because, like, this is a show that I should be excited about doing. The Sharks beat a team that I fucking absolutely despise with the heat of 1,000 suns. And yet, I'm supposed to come on here now and be mad about it. I hate this. This is fucking dumb. Like, I hate this.
I can't help but laugh because it's just they're just they apparently don't suck enough to get the number one overall, but they suck enough to where they're not, haven't been in the playoff chase in 4 effing years.
Yeah.
I told at the beginning of this thing, I said, man, we're going to be like Minnesota. And we're going to be stuck in the mushy middle for the next 10 years. Oh, God, it looks like I'm right. I hate it when I'm right.
I was nervous. So when I saw coming into this game, I was like, all right, whatever. It's Vegas, right? You know, probably Vegas is going to drop a big dub. And then I saw that it was Laurent Brossoit in it, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like this. Like, and I didn't tweet it. I haven't tweeted very much during games because, again, right? It's like I don't want to fight with people because I fucking hate the team that they played, and I want to be happy they won, right? Like, look I know the score. I'm not a fucking idiot. I understand the score here. I know where this leads the Sharks, and I know that wins are not good at this point in the season. I'm not an idiot. However, I mean, like, why are you guys so mad? Like, if you were at the game, you got tacos. That's a good thing, right?
At least somebody got
Vegas.
something.
That's a good thing. Like, I don't know. Like, man, this season needs to end yesterday.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Because I just, like, it sucks. Like, I'm so, again, like, I just want it to go back to being when the Sharks do good, it's good.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And it's just, like, I know we'll get the inevitable, oh, you know, they're professional athletes and, you know, they're going to play at a high level and pride and
all of that is true. Like,
yada,
like,
yada.
Let's not like, you know, like we pay that lip service, but that's a true statement. Like, these guys aren't going out. the players aren't going out there to tank. The players don't give a shit where the Sharks draft next year.
Now, and I think I'm going to play devil's advocate on this and just say if they knew what was good for them for the next season, meaning if they want to, take a step leaps and bounds, I think that these guys are smart enough to understand how standings work and what
they're not wired that way though.
It's to me, it's
like
just short-sighted.
If you're like, let's look at a guy like, let's talk about Henry Thrun. Henry Thrun comes in, he's playing his first pro game. Like, he's playing for a spot on this lineup next year because obviously, like, he can't go to the AHL right now.
Right.
But if he doesn't impress right now to leave a good impression on the coaching staff going into camp next year, he could start next year on the Barracuda. Does he want that? Probably not. So I'm like, and this is why this sucks, right? And I know it's like, it's everyone's favorite genre of Ian show where, it's like, I just hate everything and act like I have like the worst hobby on the planet, even though I'm here doing this at 1:16 in the morning. So obviously I enjoy doing it, but it's like, it's going to be one of these things where it's like, oh man, Ian hates doing this so much. No, I just hate doing certain types of shows. So I think this is going to be a mixed genre show for you. It's going to be Ian complains about having like a really cool hobby that people obviously show up to watch, and Ian antagonizes the audience. I'm sure it's going to be a great show.
Well, as it always. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't break down the game. So in that first period, the newcomer, Thrun, I was really, really impressed on that first goal. It seems like he has somehow rejuvenated Mario Ferraro to circa 2018, 2019, right? So to me, that he seems like, okay, this is the guy that's going to be the puck mover, and Mario can really just focus on being the good defensively aware player that he is. And when he focuses on his part of the game and doesn't do too much, he finds himself in a great position to tap a goal in. And it was really a nice side-to-side movement coming in at 4:16 in the first period, and the Sharks get on the board first with Thrun and Bordeleau getting the assists there. But again, just some nice tic-tac-toe movement. And this isn't the first time that we'll mention Thrun in his debut, but again, from that first shift, I thought that the Sharks did a really nice job in first kind of feeling out where Vegas was and wasn't giving them a lot of zone time, and then being able to press on the counterattack. It just seemed like the counterattack was really working in that first period.
Yeah, like again, I think I was really impressed with Thrun. Obviously, I don't watch a ton of college hockey at all. It's not the easiest thing to find up here as far as where to watch it goes. So it's not something that I get to watch a ton of. I mean, I watch enough hockey already. Like I really can't add more to it. But so I wasn't really super familiar with his games. But as far as first impressions go, I think he made a hell of a first impression off of this game, which it's nice. And like there hasn't been anything that Mike Grier has done that's like made me go, oh man, this is so fucking good. Like Mike Grier is so fucking good. But like there's a lot of little things that are at least starting to add up a little bit now. Like it's like, I've liked what I've seen from Mukhamadullin with the Barracuda. Not to completely derail us, but like I've liked what I've seen from Mukhamadullin with the Barracuda so far. Henry Thrun looks like a nice get. So I mean, there's a lot of little things that seem to be adding up where I'm like, yeah, this is pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, I think Grier needs to be given some kudos for rebuilding the back end so quickly and adding young pieces that can be built around. And we saw Knyzhov get the extension as well, so that's good to see. And we'll keep him on the roster for a couple more years. But again, they're starting to get this little young nucleus of blue liners together, and you can kind of see what the transition plan will be once Vlasic is done, and once Šimić kind of ages out of his contract as well, and then of course who knows what's going to happen with EK65 in the off season, because that's anybody's guess. But getting back to the game, Oscar Lindblom would get his 6th of the season, which kind of bittersweet because unfortunately he'd exit the game a little bit later, but gets his 6th on the season. Ferraro and Thrun yet again on the assists there. And that would be 2.9 for Thrun and 2.9 for Ferraro. But again, just some more tic-tac-toe play that it's like, where has this been? Why wasn't we seeing this earlier on in the season? Now, one of the players, of course, was a guy that was just added, but I'm wondering where Oscar Lindblom has been for this entire season.
Well, I mean, it was nice of him to show up, but then obviously, like, he didn't finish the game either. So, was it Lindblom didn't finish the game?
Yeah, it was. Oscar didn't finish the game.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it was nice that he finally came on, but of course we have to. He didn't finish the game, so I'm sure we're gonna further pillage the Barracuda, who are pretty much screwed anyway, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's like, I don't know how many the number of guys injured on both clubs, like on both parts of the franchise right now it's really starting to add up. And yeah, man, like if the Barracuda weren't already in tough, like they're going to get pillaged for another forward. And it's just, yeah, it's tough sledding.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. And you can definitely see that the organization's being stretched thin. So yeah, we'll see how it kind of lines up. But unfortunately the Sharks, their play would regress, I think, at the very last quarter of that first period. Nicholas Hague would end up getting his 3rd of the season, with Hutton getting the assist, and that would give Vegas, a sliver of light to kind of push back in, and again, late period goals doing the Sharks in, and I mean we've talked about it ad nauseum, but it just seems like at the end of periods this team is just very, very vulnerable, and again it rears its ugly head and kind of kills some of the momentum that you had at the beginning of that first period.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, Vegas didn't really play, like, the first half of the game. I don't think Vegas played a particularly great game against the Sharks either, but they're dangerous enough that if you leave them an open and allow them to punch back, they're probably going to hit you really hard. And I think that's what that was. Like, I thought that the Sharks had done a good job of kind of dealing with them through most of the period, even like a lot of the second period as well. But if you leave them an opening, they're gonna punch back and they're gonna hit really hard.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's kind of one of those don't poke the bear, because he's going to wake up and he's going to maul you, and that's exactly what Vegas did. So in that second period, 1 minute and 8 seconds into the period, the Sharks would give up their first power play goal against for the Vegas Golden Knights this season. Hard to believe, but the power play for Vegas finally figures out the Sharks PK, and Vegas is able to tie it up 2-2. Barbashev with Waugh and Eichel getting the assists there. Again, this is just, it's a power play goal. They had 11 shots prior, 11 tries at the power play before, and it's a team with a stacked roster. It's going to break through. So the law of averages for me on that one.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, and this is where it's like, okay, this is fine, because again, like, yeah, I don't want, like, I know some people will be like on here and they'll be in the chat and they'll be like, oh man, I just want the Sharks to lose 15-0, but man, I don't want to do that fucking show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you break that down, especially this time of year, right? When everything's fucking dumb. I just, if I'm gonna invest the time, like, I want to be entertained. If I'm gonna do a show, like, I want to have something to talk about, and I don't think, like, there's not a whole lot to talk about if the Sharks get destroyed 15-0 or something dumb like that. Like, I mean, obviously it would be nice, because then obviously, like, there's no overtime points, there's no nothing like that. But I mean, fuck, I don't want to watch that game.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Again, it's just I feel like because the team has been so bad and had really built up a lot of bad mistakes and bad habits, and then for them to finally start to get a little bit of a streak here at the end, it's just really frustrating because it signals that the team, I mean, yes, they're starting to kind of fit in on the same page, but
Yeah.
it's like a little bit, a lot of it too late, and you don't know if this is just a dead cat bounce for a lot of these guys who want to try and get roster spots for next season. You don't know if it happens to be because of that rookie, adrenaline spike that you get, the rookie adrenaline play. So it's just hard to gauge where this team is at if these pieces are actually going to be pieces that are going to be around moving forward, or if it's just, again, kind of flashes in the pan and you get these wins and ultimately set yourself back. That I think for me, that's where most of the frustration comes. But who would
Like,
get
you know
off
what though? Like, here's the thing. Like, they weren't gonna lose 20 in a fucking row. Like, there was gonna be wins somewhere along the lines, just like other teams that, other teams have managed to pick up wins as well, right? Chicago picked up wins. All the teams that are the Sharks are fighting with to get to the bottom. Like, it's not like they've all gone on, like, the Ducks are obviously on quite the stretch, right? But like, there was wins picked up in there. Like, Chicago has won 2 of their last 10. Arizona has won 4 of their last 10. The Ducks have won 2 of them. Like, they were gonna pick up wins. Like, the idea that the Sharks were just gonna go from the trade deadline to the end of the season with no wins, like, it was never realistic. So I understand people being upset because they've picked up points, but like, I just think you were asking for something that wasn't realistically ever going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, it's law of averages. And, I think a player that had really needed the law of averages to go in his favor was Tomas Hertl, especially in the goal department. And he would get his 21st of the season with Kraut and Peterson getting the assist at 11:47 in the second period. So that would give the Sharks again the lead. But a guy that we can continue to see make an impact is Kraut. And I've
Yeah,
liked
Cout's
what
been really good.
I've liked what I've seen. And with a guy like Ryan Merkley, not really producing all that much, I mean, you hope that maybe the Sharks came out a little bit ahead on this.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked Cout. I don't know what his ceiling is as an NHL player. I still think he's going to be a guy who's going to be like more, I think, on a team where maybe you're not as depleted in the forward group as the Sharks are right now. I think he's a guy who would comfortably sit on your third line, and I think you'd be happy to have him there. But he's, I've liked him on the Barracuda, and I've liked what he's done since being called up. It's unfortunate for the Barracuda, right? Because obviously I think all these injuries for the Sharks and all these call-ups and even injuries on the Barracuda itself have really come at the worst possible time for them. I thought they were starting to play their best hockey, but even playing their best hockey, they weren't stringing together wins as much as they probably needed to. Like, there was still, like, they'd win a couple, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. But yeah, I mean, like, the Barracuda definitely miss him. I think he's, but it's nice that he's come up and gotten the opportunity to play the way he has. And I think, I think the Sharks have to be pretty happy with that pickup right now.
Yeah, I agree. Going into that third period, Michael Amadio would end up tying it up for Vegas and giving those of us who are on Tank Nation a little bit of some hope that maybe the Sharks could pull out the L after all. But unfortunately, Vegas wouldn't score again, so that kind of sucks. But Stevenson and Hutton getting the assists there, and again, I think the Sharks were kind of a little bit under siege in that last 5 minutes of the third period, and lucky to escape to OT. And then, of course, in that OT, Logan Couture buries the breakaway, his 26th of the season, and the Sharks beat Vegas Golden Knights 4-3. Overall, the Sharks would go 0 for 3 on the power play, not looking very dangerous at all, and the Vegas Golden Knights would go 1 for 3 and cashing in on that, and cashing out on that PP, and I guess, getting a point. And I think this secures their playoff positioning, right?
I think Vegas was in the playoffs before the game even started. I think they were already clinched before the puck even dropped for this game. But I mean, for them, like, I think they've lost 2 in a row now. They can't be happy. Look at this Pacific Division race is actually shaping up to be pretty interesting. The Golden Knights moved to 99 points on their season. The Oilers are right behind them with 97. Now, the Oilers have played one more game than both Vegas and Los Angeles, who are kind of in that little pack there. And Los Angeles, who I think is another team who I thought was playing really good hockey, but has lost their last 2 now. They're at 96. So Vegas, if they want to hold on to that top seed and play, one of the wild card seeds, I think it depends. Like, if Edmonton got up into the first seed, like, I don't think Vegas is sweating Los Angeles.
Right.
I don't think the Oilers are sweating Los Angeles either, to be completely honest. Like, I think, again, Los Angeles is kind of on the come up, but I'm not afraid of them yet. I think that if the Oilers and the Kings play in the first round, I think that goes pretty much the way it did last year. I think the Oilers are going to probably coast through that a little bit. Maybe the Kings might get a game. But Vegas, Vegas obviously wants to play a little bit better hockey right now. I don't think this is the time of year. Like, I think if you're a Vegas fan, this loss probably annoys you because, again, like I said, you're losing ground on your lead in the Pacific, your lead in the West too, right? Like, you want to play that second wild card. And tonight they didn't do themselves any favors to secure that.
No, I think you're absolutely spot on there. And again, it's going to be a very, very interesting finish to the season and see who's going to end up on the top of the Pacific Division.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, we would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Thomas Bordeleau and his debut this season. I thought that he played well enough.
Yeah, he was good. I think Thomas Bordeleau played fine tonight. It sucks again, right? Because it's like he finally kind of got his game back on track with the Barracuda. He scored a couple of goals, so I'm not surprised that they finally called him up. I think his last few games he's made a pretty strong case for coming up. And plus, again, like, it's not like there's no slide situation with Thomas Bordeleau. His contract's ticking whether they like it or not. So, I mean, you might as well bring him up and kind of give him a game and see what, Quinn thinks of him, give him some games down the stretch. I don't like, so I know some people are like, oh, why are they calling the kids up? But, like, I think you have to give them opportunities to see where they're at, right? Like, there's nothing substitutes for NHL games. And I think for a guy like Bordeleau, for a guy like Eklund, like, you want to see them at this time of year. You want to see how they hang, because, like, yeah, you can play some games in training camp or whatever, but I mean, like, if you're playing, preseason games, like, you don't really play against NHL rosters until, like, maybe the last game of the season. So I think for guys that you think that you should be able to pencil in for next year as guys that should take roles on this team, those are the guys you got to call up. And Bordeleau and Eklund are on the top of that list. Now, I wish that the Sharks would have just said, sending Eklund down, obviously, they kind of shot themselves in the foot because, they say dumb things, and all teams do this. It's not like the Sharks are alone in this, right? But it's like, oh, we're trying to get him, some experience going in the playoff hunt for the Barracuda. But no, just say you didn't want to, you didn't want his contract to start this year. You wanted to slide it till next year. Like, again, like, sometimes I think NHL teams, especially teams like the Sharks, like, they just think their fans are so fucking dumb. And it's just not the case, right? Like, we know the fucking score. We know why Eklund got sent down. Don't give me this, oh, it's actually about the playoff push, as you call up the rest of the fucking team.
Right.
But Eklund
Right.
didn't come back up. Why? Because we're pushing his contract. Like, I just wish that they would, just say the thing we're all, say it out loud.
Right. No,
Just say it out loud.
Yeah, no, it's patronizing, right? And
Yeah.
especially for the hardcore fans who understand where we're at in the season, understands where the Barracuda are at, understands that, the young kids on the farm gaining chemistry together is probably more fruitful than, disjointed call-ups. I think for me in particular,
Mm-hmm.
I would just want it to be more consistent, right? If you're gonna call
Mm-hmm.
them up, then leave them up. If you're gonna send them down, keep them down. And
Well, I mean, you got to remember, like, a lot of these, you got to remember, the one thing that I think people have to remember also, though, is that if you got a guy in an emergency loan, it's got to go back down when the reason for the emergency loan is over.
right.
Right. Like, I think that's a point that I think a lot of people are missing in this, is like, you only get 4 call-ups after the trade deadline.
That's
So
right.
if you got a bunch of guys on emergency loan, like, they got to go back down. Them's be the rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there's not really an easy solution for it, but yeah, again, we'll see how it ends up, and hopefully Thomas Bordalo can use this as the proverbial carrot,
Yeah.
to get his game to where it needs to be, and make sure that he's successful in all phases. So
Yeah, and I really like Thomas Bordalo this year. I just think he had a rough stretch, like, in the last little bit. Things just stopped working for him. Things stopped going in. And that happens to young players. And just I think it was frustrating for him too, knowing that, like, obviously with the injuries and guys that were starting to get called up. I mean, it's a really shitty time when I think as a young player, you're biding your time for this part of the year where guys generally start getting looks, and then everything kind of stops going in for you at that point. Like, I think it kind of compounded I think his struggles. And I think once he got that monkey off his back, I think he's been great again for the Barracuda. Out on the wire, personally, I think the Kings are a tougher match than Vegas. I mean, maybe they are. I don't know. I think that I don't know. I think the Oilers should get through the first round pretty easily.
I mean, I would hope with the firepower that they have, because if not, then I think that there's going to be some real structural changes to come up. But we'll see. The playoffs really do kind of tell that the cream rises to the top as far as the playoffs go, and we'll see what Edmonton brings and if they can get over the hump. I just wanted to quickly, SG Sports talk. Appreciate you being on, buddy. Unfortunately, we already spoke about Henry Throne. We thought
he did good. He did really good.
Really good, and again, good on the Sharks to get his family out, and good for them to see the assists that he was able to pick up. So a real special night for him, and then good on the organization. The organization does normally a pretty good job with family members, especially for young kids making their debuts. So.
Logan Teal, does emergency loan mean when they get sent back down, they don't have to go through? That's a fantastic. I don't believe so. The other thing you got to remember, reentry waivers aren't a thing anymore unless you've played a significant number of games before you have to clear waivers to go back down. Like, if you come up and I think you play less than 10 games, reentry waivers aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah, no, I think you're definitely correct in that assessment there, Ian. Well, Puck Guy, I think we're ready to rock and roll. I think we've closed the book on this one, and let's see what you got in store for us.
Good job, guys. I'll quickly add on to some of the comments that were going on in the chat. We did get one comment from David Quinn on Thrun. My plan is to play the crap out of him.
Yeah.
So at this point, why not? You guys see what you got going on here. So a couple other ones that I noticed while you guys were talking from Team Pereira. Hey guys, Devils fan here. Thank you for Timo Meier. He scored for us today and had the game-winning goal against the Rangers. Hope Zetterlund has been playing well for you. I miss him.
It's been okay. I don't love Zetterlund, but I don't. Again, man, I'm so.
Right.
I just again, it's this time of
Hopefully
year.
he can make some strides in the off season, right? I mean, you think there are some good things to his game, and I think he's a player that has some potential, but he's going to have to actualize, right? Right now, he's a guy, and
And I think it's hard, right? Because again, like especially if you're a person who just watches the Sharks and that's the only part of the team. Well, you're seeing Johnson, but Johnson was obviously a cap dump situation where they had to make the numbers work cap wise. I mean, it's hard. I think if you're a Sharks fan, someone who primarily just watches the Sharks, you're not watching the Barracuda. You're not plugged into what the Barracuda are doing. That's the only piece that you're seeing on a regular basis, and I can understand why people would have issues based on what they've seen so far. I don't know.
Yeah. Quinn on fans saying as the Sharks are screwing up. We are going to keep playing our asses off and we want to win hockey games. I get the narrative, but you get rewarded for doing the right thing. Obviously, I mean, the team won't tank. Get it over it, gang.
Yeah,
but it won't.
Again, like right, like going to the players and be like, "Why are you winning?" Like, it's so stupid.
Right?
I understand being frustrated that the Sharks are not in the best position to land Connor Bedard or even Adam Fantilli at this point. So I understand the frustration there, but at the same time, it's like I don't know why anyone would fucking go to the coach or a player and be like, "Why aren't you losing good enough?" Like, fucking dumb.
Yeah. So kind of took a back seat. Let you guys talk about this freaking win. Yeah, great. Sharks do have the fourth best odds now. So they sit at number 29 in the league, which is 9.5% odds of winning the lottery. But that's that. It was
It is a lottery.
It is a lottery, so anything can happen. But tonight was Y2K night at the Tank, and we kind of want to bring back a little bit of the theme over to us this evening. You guys have been longtime Sharks fans, like I have. Some of your favorite memories from the 2000s when this team went from having their first winning season to winning, multiple division titles, winning the President's Trophy at the end of the decade. Ian, I'll start with you, but your memories from the 2000s and all those playoff runs.
I mean, just like I think that the one thing about the 2000 Sharks, like getting into the 2000s, more of the mid 2000s than really Y2K. But like, I mean, obviously, it's the team gearing up, like having guys like Joe Thornton come here, and then going from a team that was kind of happy to be there to a team with actual expectations. Because for a long time, it was like, oh yeah, the Sharks in the playoffs, that's nice for them. And if they beat somebody, that's great. But they weren't. The change from being like a happy to be there kind of like if they win a round, that's really good for them, good for the Sharks, to well, you didn't win the Stanley Cup, so what the fuck's the matter with you?
Right. Landy?
Yeah, and I mean, I think when I think back of the early 2000s, I think about that series against Calgary and how it definitely showed that Patrick Marleau was really the coming out party for me, for Patrick Marleau as a playoff performer, and a guy that bleeds teal, and again, it kind of segueing into what Ian had said, during that mid 2000s, of course we got Jumbo, and we got the team really graduating from a good, I would say top 10 kind of team to a top 5 or 6 type of team. It really becoming elite once Jumbo was added to the team. So again, I think about Jonathan Chichu becoming a Rocket Trophy winner. Joe Thornton winning the MVP by playing on 2 different teams. I mean, we were definitely spoiled in that mid to late 2000s era. But specifically, when I think about this jersey, I think about I think about reach, and I think about the team getting over the hump, getting into the Western Conference Finals for the first time against Calgary.
Yeah, there were so many memories. Just trying to think of all of them. You know, you had Owen Nolan's shot at center ice against the Blues in Game 7. Yeah, I'll do it. Here you go. Because we didn't do it earlier.
Did somebody say Game 7?
You know, you had that, and then, you know, you had 0-2 where Solani misses the open net. You had the earthquake there. But, yeah, that 0-4 run, you know, on a personal standpoint, I was named, you know, the 7th man that year, and they invited me to all the playoff games down the road when I'm handing out the rally towels and pom-poms, so that was fun. Being at the first Game 7 at home, that was a crazy one against Calgary. That was a crazy series. And then, yeah, you guys, you know, Joe Thornton changing the franchise around with it. But I want to quiz you guys on your 2000 knowledge. I'll promise to not make it too embarrassing. Chat, I ask you to be gentle with these gentlemen as I give them the business here. But let's get into it. And I'll begin with this one, and I'll start with you, Landy. I want to know, what was the losing streak, the amount of games that the Sharks had lost in a row before they acquired Joe Thornton?
Oh shit.
The number 11 seems to be swirling around my head. It's either 10 or 11.
You're going with 11, and since it's Y2K night, is that your final answer?
It is.
Oh, so close. It was 10. It was 10.
Oh. See, I was.
You were so
too,
you were so close on that one. All right, Ian.
Oh man.
Who were the pieces that were sent to Anaheim when the Sharks traded for Teemu Solani in 2001?
Shit, man. Oh my god.
I'll give
Jeff
you.
Friesen was one of them, wasn't it?
That is.
Okay.
Jeff Friesen, and then
Jeff Friesen was like the centerpiece of it. I can't remember who else though, but I remember Jeff Friesen going. But I honestly, I can't remember who else. It's a bad day to be a robot.
Goaltender.
Oh, a goaltender.
Wasn't
Yeah. Help him out, Landy. Go ahead.
Their current color guy, is it? Brian Hayward?
No. He was
No,
long
no,
retired
no,
by
no.
then.
No, he was long retired. Yeah.
Oh, it was Shields. Yeah.
Yep, Steve Shields.
Steve Shields. Okay, I was wondering if it was Shields or not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Goaltending in that era is just such a.
It's a blur.
Well,
Yeah.
you had Shields, you had Friesen, you had Nabby. Friesen's the goaltender. What was I saying? Shields, Nabby. Then you had Kiprasov, who came in relief in that playoff series that they lost to St. Louis in, and then Toskala.
Toskala next year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh crap! I just lost the last one. I should have written these down. This should have been great. Who had the 4-point night in Game 7 in 2008?
2008?
Yes. So this is against Calgary. This player had a goal and 3 assists to help the Sharks advance to the second round against Dallas.
Oh, that's the year with the Nabby save, but then they lost in that game. Who was on that team?
is that gonna be a young Joe Pavelski?
No.
It
was Jeremy Roenick.
It was Jeremy Roenick.
Oh.
Nice one, Ian. Nice. All right, last one for you guys. This one I thought was going to be the toughest one. Marcel Gottsch got the game-winning, series-winning goal in 2004 against Colorado. Which Sharks broadcaster assisted on that goal?
It's Curtis Brown.
Curtis Brown is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, guys. That wasn't too painful, was it? I'm actually proud of you
The
guys.
robot brain was running.
The
I don't
robot brain is running at 10 minutes to 2 a.m. Nice job, gentlemen. So I wanted to have some little fun here. I mean, let's be honest here, folks. There hasn't been a whole lot of good stuff to talk about until tonight, and of course they win. So, you know. So a little fun on Y2K night. And if you notice, some of the graphics that we've done tonight have been based on Fox Sports Net back in the 2000s. So a little homage to that. Even Bordello was wearing the throwback jersey against Vegas that night. So
Was he even born yet?
That makes me feel fucking old. Don't
yeah,
do it.
right?
Well, he was
Right?
21 years old, so yeah, he didn't feel I2K shot. Oh man.
I told you, dude.
Oh, thanks so much.
Dude. I'm gonna be 32 in a month.
Here's an interesting stat for everyone. Henry Thrun finished with more ice time, 1846, than Shimmick at 1516, Vlasic at 1818, and McDonald with 1630. So yeah, when when
over or under
Quinn
on-
said I plan to play the shit out of him, he is not lying.
So the over or under on two of those players that you just mentioned with less ice time being on the team next season.
Right?
I'm
Yeah.
fascinated to see what this team looks like next season. Like, just don't give me to the offseason because I do want to watch the playoffs. I do enjoy the playoffs, whether the Sharks are in or not. But, yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated to see where this goes from here.
I'm right with
Right.
you because it's like you just signed Knyzhov to a new deal. You have
Yeah.
Thrun up there. You have Ferraro. Carlson, I doubt is not go anywhere, especially if you land Bedard. I mean, it's gonna be
Maybe, I don't know.
interesting. It's gonna be an interesting offseason. So
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm not like in a super rush because, like I said, I do want to enjoy the playoffs. I just want this fucking season to end so I can stop being, so I can stop coming on here and supposed to be mad when the Sharks do good because I just.
And it'll be, it will. I think the Sharks' off-season plan will really be determined on if they can get one of either Bedard or Fantilli. And I already kind of like the fact that Fantilli has got this chip on his shoulder, and I think wants to be the Eichel to the McDavid snake, so to speak. So I think that you're going to get a good player at one or two. I mean, I think the top five, you're going to get a great player, but I think
but I don't think I think I understand people being upset. Like I understand, like if we don't get first overall, you don't get to Bedard. I understand people being upset by that. I honestly do. And if you don't finish like top two, because I like Fantilli a lot too. I'm not going to be like I think if you don't get one of those two guys, I can understand being really upset. But you're right. Like I think any guy that you take in the top five is going to be a player. It's just, but at the same time, I understand the desire to get either Fantilli or Bedard as like a real shot in the arm. Because I think if you I think Michkov or Leo Carlson or whoever you would take at 5, Benson Smith, whatever, like you're going to get a decent player there, but I don't think they're the franchise altering player. Like I think they're a good piece, but I don't think they're the franchise altering guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think honestly, if they get one or two overall, then that increases the likelihood that Erik Karlsson wants to stay, or that the plan is to have a quicker rebuild than what we're all preparing for.
Yeah.
If they do get a player at 3, 4, or 5, right? I think it really will determine the pivot. How quickly this team can pivot is going to be based upon that draft. So
yeah.
No pressure, Mike Greer.
the Sharks at 57 points with 7 games left leaves them with a max of 71. It's amazing how a week or two ago we were thinking they're going to go 19 in a row without a loss or without a win. So if I'm looking at it
Yeah, but
right,
that was never real. Like that was like I know
Oh,
people
no.
wanted. That was never realistic.
Oh, the
That was just wishful
percentages would
thinking.
tell you no way. Yeah.
Philly has 71 points at the moment, but they have 26 regulation wins. So the Sharks at the worst would be picking, at the very worst, even if they were to drop down the 2 spots, would be picking 8th overall at the moment. So you're already at number 8 on the draft lottery board. So that's the worst case scenario at number 8, which
Would be devastating.
Yeah. I think if you finish outside of the top 5, that will put back the rebuild.
I am devastated if we don't pick. If we don't pick in the top 3, I think I'm going to be absolutely devastated. Again, like the draft is fine, but I'd rather be excited to talk about the draft when we get to the draft. I don't know, man. Like again, like it's hard, right? Because like I mean, look, I understand the score. I understand where this team is. But and look, I understand that this is going to be probably next season too.
Yeah.
Even the season after that. But like this isn't fun.
Yeah.
This is a lot fun when the team's expected to do good things and we can talk about a win without being like, oh man, they won. What the fuck is this shit? Me. Like right. Fuck guys, I don't want to do those shows. Like
or at least have them have a puncher's chance in most games, right?
Yeah,
that's what I would want to see. You know, a team fighting for a wild card spot, or you know what I mean. Just give me a little bit of juice to be entertained, right? This is not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I don't want to like. I'm just gonna be so happy when we kind of get like a clean slate next year, and I don't have to come on here and be like, "We won. This is the worst shit ever." Like, it's such a stupid. It's so fucking stupid.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
That's what 4 years out of the playoffs do for you.
Yeah, it's not fun. It sucks. I mean, let's be honest. We all want to grow playoff beards. Well, I mean, Landy's already started, but you know, it would be fun to just be back in the playoff chase at the very least. Exactly. Logan Couture, people are going to say a zillion things in this room. We want to win games. We are all competitors. We all show up at the rink every day and try to get better.
Yeah, I mean, and right, again, like going and talking to players about like, why aren't you taking, dummy? Like, it's such a stupid fucking talking point that we've entertained far too many times on this show.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, guys, I think that kind of wraps things up. In case you missed anything or want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, including Napster, Real Player. Sorry.
Real Player.
More like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, Amazon Music. Of course, if you are watching on the YouTube channel, make sure you give us a like and subscribe button. Smashing, of course, hit that notification bell. That'll let you know when we do go on the air. But guys,
I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna when I download this podcast, I'm gonna listen to it on Winamp because it really kicks the llama's ass.
Oh man, I wonder if it's gonna be shared across any P2P sites like LimeWire.
Oh, LimeWire! God, you guys are bringing back memories of stuff. Holy crap! But that's the fun part of it. So, Couture on the steal and his game-winning goal. Petra was looking for Eichel. I was able to read it, put it right on my tape. Pre-scouted 5-hole on Brossois from goalie coach Thomas Spear. Nice. Are you guys on LimeWire? AJ, if you're watching on MySpace, stop. So appreciate you guys all joining us for the Y2K theme show. Final thoughts. We'll start with Ian.
Final thoughts are when the cat scratches my leg, it's not good.
Oh no, that's like icing on the power play. He's at Ian Blocks Hockey. Mr. at Eric Landy.
I'm just hoping that I don't wake up tomorrow and the Y2K bug has nuked us into oblivion.
I'm a robot. You know how dangerous the Y2K bug was for me? Like I didn't think I was gonna boot up the next day. It was terrible.
Right?
Oh my goodness. LM Pucknologist / Little Wayne Lollipop remix. Yes, yes, yes. MySpace has been rebuilding longer than Buffalo. Oh, no.
They're not wrong.
Oh, that's a good one out on the wire. All right. Good luck to your Oilers as well. So thanks, everyone, for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. We will be back with you Saturday. No joking around. On April Fool's Day, as the Sharks take on the Desert Dogs in those weird burgundy jerseys. That is a 7 p.m. start, so we'll be with you about 9:35 after the game. And so we appreciate each and every one of you watching us. Thank you for watching. Yes, look for us on Friendster. And until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Shark Bite is next with Drew Amening getting smashed by Colin McLaren. Good night, everyone.